What up, yo? It's your boy, One Sir Grove. This is episode 72 of Casting 495 Celebrities Worldwide. Today's topic is this show getting 1 million listeners, garnering, having more than 1 million listeners worldwide. It's not inconceivable, and it will happen. And here's why. Man, I am an over-the-top, outrageous shock jock. I fucking speak the truth, man, and I say what's on my mind, and I don't hold back, man. No holds barred. By the way, if you're tuning in for the first time, or if you've tuned in before, I sincerely appreciate it. This is C4CW, and this is the 72nd episode. I hope you're having a blessed day wherever you are in the world. So, a lot of shows, man, they started off like my show, and then they gained traction, like this show has gained traction. Now, if you don't like conservative talk, news, radio, hey, man, I understand, and you have your opinions, and I have mine. You're entitled in the United States and around the world, depending on where you live, to have your own opinion. In some countries, apparently you can't, and you have to think like the beehive thinks. You have to do everything that the fucking government tells you to do, and you have to think like the government. I won't mention any country specifically, but I know some international students who told me in their country, if you go against the grain, if you say the wrong things in terms of you say some shit about the state, they will come knock on your door with the secret police. And that's real shit. I'm not making that up. That is not embellished. And that is not fake. That's 100% fucking for real. Like in some countries, man, you can't say some shit and you can't have your own opinions. Well, you can, but if you do, they'll come knock on the door, and when I say they, I'm talking about the government of those fucking stupid countries, man. They will come and they will fucking arrest you, dude, and they will re-educate you. If they don't just off you, dude, and just like take you out, they'll try to reprogram you. It's just whatever they feel like doing. So you can't say the shit that you want to say in some countries on this planet, man. So God bless America. America's still the greatest country on earth, and I believe that, man. And I'm down with Donald Trump, helping to make America great again. MAGA. I love that shit, man. And you know, when Kanye West made the remark, apparently, because I've listened to some of his statements, I didn't hear everything because there's so much data in the world. He said that apparently, according to news media, that he felt like Superman when he put on that MAGA cap. Hey, man, we're all children of God and the grand architect, creator of the multiverse. And so I get it, man. If he truly said that, I mean, we're all kids. Even as adults, man, we're really just, kids deep down inside, man, in adult bodies. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying that, man, we started off as embryos, as, little tiny things. And then we grew into these shells, into these vessels, these larger bodies. But, deep down inside, man, we still have, the minds of children. Yeah, we're grown and we think adult thoughts, but you still like cartoons, man. A lot of you. And so do I, man. And you still remember the good old days, how things were, back when the world was much more innocent and whatnot. And so we're very childlike, man. We're children of God, and that's real shit. So Kanye West, man, though, I didn't really care for his music, and, I really still don't. I'm just being honest. Like, I like the vibe sometimes, the way he comes off on the mic. He's saying, like, I'm not, his lyrics, I'm just like, dude, because he talks too much about, like, women. And, I like women too, but I don't like it when rappers, I like rappers like Rakim. Rakim talks about knowledge and ciphers of intel and, like, systems of, like, knowing things and, like, ancient history and how he's dope on the microphone. These modern rappers, they think that they got to talk about pussy and fucking bitches, and they have to, like, say bad shit about women, man. Misogynistic shit. The misogyny of rap is dumb, dude, and it never has been fucking fresh. Unless, of course, dude, if it's done in a different way, where it's in a playful manner, where even women are like, nah, he's not really being demeaning to women. Like Too Short, for example, dude. Life is Too Short, Born to Mac. I mean, Too Short did it well. Because, I mean, come on, man. Is he being serious? It's like for fun and it's for play, right? Some dudes, they actually mean to be mean to women. And they want to say negative, derogatory things in a way where they actually mean it. And it's fucked up, dude. And it's stupid. And I've never liked that kind of rap. And, Kanye West, man, when I listen to his shit, when he first materialized, man, I've talked about it for several episodes now. The college dropout shit. It's like, come on, dude. Like, you're saying like the wrong shit in my opinion. Like so you're influencing is what I mean to say. This is a mobile podcast too, by the way, so I'm driving. You're influencing as a role model that you're supposed to be, an icon. You're influencing kids, young adults to drop out of school, dude. And when you have an album like College Dropout, people are like, oh, Kanye West dropped out of school, maybe I should too and become rich and famous like he is. And then get a wife with the big booty like Kardashian. I don't know if she has a big booty. I'm just saying that. But that's how rappers think. That's how young men often think. And I'm not saying all rappers, and I'm not saying all men. I don't make blanket statements like that. It's not carte blanche and just all encompassing. I'm saying that largely a very large a very large segment of the population of young men, they are influenced by hip hop and urban music. And so if you have an album that is titled College Dropout and you're talking on that album about like bitches and, drugs and, fucking debauchery, essentially. And then you're like, but look at me, I'm fucking rich and famous. Then people are like, wait a second, let me do the quick math. Kanye West dropped out of school, according to the album title. I don't know if he actually did. He could be a fucking PhD rocket scientist just playing a masterful role. I don't know, But yeah, so he's got this album titled College Dropout, which suggests that he dropped out of college at some point, and he's rich and famous. Maybe I should drop out of fucking college. I mean, come on, dude. There are people who are young and impressionable, and they're gullible and quite ignorant, and it's very fucking pathetic and sad. So I didn't like that. And as someone who's mixed minority, I'm half Caucasian, half black, African American, Native American. I'm Afro-Asiatic. Like Professor Griff would say, AKA Dr. Grover, myself here, 25 years in the rap game, deep. In this game here, in this industry, in this arena, it just didn't bode well with me, man. It didn't sit well. And I'm like, yo, man, that's just a negative fucking stereotype, dude, for the black African-American mixed minority community and anyone in the world, man. White kids too, dude, Caucasian kids, Hispanic kids, Latino, whatever the, fucking technical terminology is there for that. Yeah, so you dropped out of school, you're rich and famous. See, you get why I didn't like Kanye West at first? But dude, he had an aha moment, man. He had a paradigm shift, and he saw the light, in my view, at least on some level. And he put on a MAGA cap, which I think, I like, the color red, man. I'm from a Bloods gang, and, gang. And, but I'm not an active gang member. I mean, shit, I'm talking about when we were kids, man, and we used to bang on the streets, man, of the United States, man, Pyru. So I like the hat. It's dope, man. MAGA, Make America Great Again. I never understood how fucking dimwits, man, and idiot moron imbeciles, superficial motherfuckers could be like, Donald Trump, fuck him, fuck MAGA. What do you want? What do you want the president to say? Like, he's done great shit, man. And America was starting to be fucked up, man. It was beginning to be fucked up. Under Obama, he trashed the country. He did. And he pretended to be a great guy, which I know a lot of liberal Democrats who they say that they are disappointed by Obama. If you have liberal Democrats, people who truly believe in liberalism or fucking democracy or whatever they believe, right? If they're telling me and you that Obama embarrassed them, like, and he disappointed them, why do you keep trying to hold on to some fake made up shit, dude? Like, let it go, man, and just let it go. Obama was a motherfucking punk, okay? He was a douchebag who pretended to be this great fucking leader that believed in change and all this bullshit that he never really fucking believed in. Conservative talk radio hosts like myself, they've talked about it recently. The only change that he was really seriously about was the transformation of America into a piece of shit country, okay? That's what he wanted, because he was a very hateful fucking dude. He is a very hateful dude. He feels bad about race relations in America, so he takes it out on white folks. And he takes it out on poor black folks, poor unsuspecting black folks. Folks who think that in the black African American community, of, you know, the subset of the black African American community, that is that is impoverished and undereducated. I'm not talking about the entire black African American population that of which there is a percentage that is highly educated. I'm talking about, he preys upon ignorant folks, okay, in all communities, any and all racially delineated communities, ethnic communities, whether it's Latino, Hispanic, Black, Native American, Inuit, whatever the names of the different human race groups are that people have fucking constructed and made up, which, you know, they have names that people have put on them and assigned to them. He preys upon weak minds, dude, and sad minds, man, by telling people that he's trying to change America, and they don't understand that the only change he's talking about is wealth distribution. That's what he's talking about, dude. He's talking about transforming America so as to redistribute wealth from the rich, powerful elite to poor folks. And he's talking about stripping the ruling class, the elite, wealthy folks who run the country, stripping them of their powers, of their monies, of their financial prowess, and giving it all away. That's the change that he was talking about. He's not talking about helping you, man. If you're someone who's middle class, he's not really. It's a fucking lie, and it's a facade, man. And smart people like me, we can see through his facade and his bullshit. He got into power, dude, and he started to make the American military weak, which was a tactic and strategy of Bill Clinton. And that was his goal the whole time, was to weaken America, to do very little to combat terrorism, to pretend like he was doing shit to combat terrorism, like increased drone strikes and blah, blah, blah. See, when you're a game theorist like he is, and you're plotting against America to undermine America, you do a bunch of shit on the surface. It's very Hegelian in nature. It's an ancient strategy where you break the system and you continue to help it be broken, while at the same time making it appear as if you're doing more than anyone else has ever done to fix the system. And that's exactly what he was doing. He was helping ISIS rise, and then he was doing massive drone strikes to make it look like he was taking out more terrorists than ever, but he was actually doing very little to combat terrorism. He was helping people like Bradley Manning. He was helping people like Al-Qaeda and their proponents. He was doing things like helping Hillary Clinton and the Clintons. He was doing shit to aid, he was aiding and abetting, to aid and abet terrorists and terror cells and fucking terrorist organizations by doing very little, and then pretending like, oh, I admit I made a mistake. ISIS has grown to be this massive menace and threat and terrorist organization worldwide, and oh my gosh, you know, perhaps I should have been doing more. It's like, right, dude, you're not really apologizing because that's what you wanted to have happen, and that's what he did, and he fucked up America, man. And then his other thing that he did, of his many fucking thousands of lies, thousands of lies, the other thing that he did intentionally was he knew that his healthcare shit was fraud and it was a sham from the beginning. And he just knew that if he told Americans who were increasingly sick and ill that he wanted for everyone to have free healthcare or some, you know, drastically reduced healthcare coverage, he knew that people would fall for that shit. And I'm pretty much convinced, dude, that he's from an alternate parallel universe and he came here to fuck this world up. He's some kind of time traveler. Now you may say, Grove, that's fringe. Well, I know some people in the defense science community who believe exactly what I just said. I think that his energy, his spirit, his soul in this shell, this shill called Obama, I don't think he's fucking from here, man. I think that he was a chrononaut who was sent to this Earth for observation, and he decided to conquest instead of report back. And if you've ever seen the TV show Travelers, the show on Netflix called Travelers that's based in Seattle, Washington, the Pacific Northwest, I think he's on some shit like that. I think he's on some level like that, man. I really do. And I think that that's why his information doesn't add up. I think it doesn't add up. I honestly, even though Donald Trump may have made some statement and to the effect that, okay, well, I now believe that your birth certificate is for real. Maybe, I don't know if did Donald Trump actually say that? Perhaps he did. Let's say he did. Okay? Whether Donald Trump actually believes that Obama's birth certificate now is real or not, I really don't fucking think it is, man. I honestly don't. I think what happened was this. I think that there were folks in the medical community in the hospital where he was born, supposedly in the United States, to a white Caucasian mother. I think that they knew that he wasn't a legitimate U.S. American-born citizen, and I think because Hawaii is the gateway to to Asia, or however it played out back then, man. I think that they were just sympathetic, and they were just like empathetic, and they're like, all right, we get it. You know what? You're an American citizen now. Your son is an American now. He's an American citizen. And she was like, thank you. I really appreciate that. Like, I'll never, I'll always, forever and always, thank you for this. And, be grateful is what I meant to say. Eternal gratitude. Yeah, I do believe that, man. And I also believe that his social security number and all of his fucking financial tax shit, like, I don't fucking think he is who people think he is, man. Because when you start to look into his background like I did, shit doesn't fucking add up. It doesn't add up. And you're probably thinking, well, yeah, but the CIA and all of these secret agencies and the U.S. Secret Service, they would not allow for someone born of foreign origins to be a U.S. president. Well, here's the clincher, man. Here's the reality of that. All you need is a birth certificate, man, that says that you're a U.S. born citizen. That's the catch, man. That's it. If you're a U.S. born citizen according to a piece of paper, I mean, what the fuck can they say, man? They can't go back in time and be like, well, we believe that it's a fraudulent document. They can't, because you've got a birth certificate that has stood the test of time, man, and it's a piece of paper. So it is theoretically possible that if he were not really a U.S. born American citizen and all he had was a piece of paper that said that he was, that was your president, dude. And they got to play along with it. Are they going to watch him like a hawk? Fuck yeah. But they can't retroactively go back and be like, this document is fraud and it's fake. I don't believe it was real, dude. I believe that he was helped and he was assisted. And I believe that on another alternate parallel timeline, this history was known already. And that's why when I was in a program that was a joint academic and U.S. intelligence community program to look at futures markets, predictive analyses, deep futures going out to the year 2038 and beyond, before I entered that program formally and officially, it was already predicted by way of supercomputers, quantum computers that our government already has. And I said quantum computers. I'm not talking about just regular fucking old school cray supercomputers. I'm talking about quantum computers. It was predicted that Barack Obama, or the dude whose name is Barack Obama, would be the United States president before he was the fucking president. And that's real shit. That's U.S. intelligence community information. Now, you may be like, dude, that's such bullshit. That's such kooky shit. Like, you're a kook and you're a wacko and you're fucking a lunatic and all this kind of shit. Well, really? Am I? Okay, in your opinion? I am sharing with you that the United States intelligence community had a prediction that Barack Obama, before he was the president, before the presidential election process was even underway and ever took place, and this is information I saw firsthand with my eyes that I know of, that is a fucking fact, that is factual. The U.S. intelligence community predicted that, they were like, supposing that based on current intel, Barack Obama will be the United States, U.S. new forthcoming president. They fucking knew, dude. They knew. with the statistical probability, likelihood, mathematically, that he was going to be the United States fucking president. Even though I was against his presidency and was against him in the presidential election process, I knew that he was going to be the president based on mathematics and the statistical models. I saw this shit in advance. That's real shit, dude. And you can think that that's crazy. Well, let me tell you something else, man. If you don't know this, some folks who have listened to my podcast before, where I've interspersed certain intel and certain data in between my wild antics and shit, my outrageous shit that I do. Hey, let me explain something to you, dude, if you didn't already know. The CIA knew about 9/11 in advance. Could they stop it from happening? Probably not. It's probably invariably not. Okay, but they knew that it was going to happen. You know how they knew? They knew from a remote viewer who saw it happen in advance. A remote viewer, and this is declassified information too, by the way. So if you think I'm full of shit, well, just go ahead and FOIA it, dude. Freedom of Information Act it, bro. Yeah, bro. Yeah, look it up, man, if you think I'm full of shit. And then you're going to be like, oh, wait a second. I thought this dude was a nutcase. Like, I even stopped the podcast, and then someone was like, hey, you didn't listen to the rest of the podcast. He said FOIA it. Dude, look it up through the Freedom of Information Act. In fact, just look for the declassified document online, dude. Just Google it. And there it is. Yeah, the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, knew in advance by way of a remote viewer who saw the attack happen on 9/11, dude. They knew. That's real. And it's declassified. And you can read you can read some of it. But you will know, and you will know that everything I've told you is absolutely 100% spot on to a T. Correct? Okay? So if you look at the Akashic records, dude, the Hall of Records, and the stuff that, like, Edgar Cayce, for example, talked about, the sleeping psychic, if you look at the information that he has on file, dude, our government knows shit. It knows deep quantum shit, because that's the secret government that knows shit, dude. Because these things, dude, they've occurred in quantum time, just like CERN, okay? They've already occurred in time. It's already on record. Yes, it changes, and it deviates, and there is divergence, and it alters. There's alterations of the timeline. But, dude, some of it, man, some of it doesn't change, and it doesn't become different. Look at transcendental numbers, dude. Look at triangular mathematics. Look at the secret shit that Tesla knew. Tesla didn't really like numbers, using them like humans do traditionally, but he understood them. Look at 3, 6, 9. Look at those numbers, man. Look at 5, 6, and 12. 5, 7, 12. Look at those number patterns, dude. 5, 7, 12. Okay? Look at 3, 6, 9, as stated. All right, look at the Sumerians, dude. Look at what the Sumerians knew. Sumerian mathematics. All of the different pyramid societies were actually the same society. Wherever they were, regardless of where they were on the planet, they're all actually technically the same pyramid society throughout the globe. Doesn't matter when they materialized, when they appeared on the timeline, how many millions of years separated those different societies. All the pyramid societies have all actually been the same society. There was a computer programmer who took all of the different ancient languages that could be put into this algorithm, and dozens of different languages, and put them into a computer program, analyzed that information, and discovered that all of these different languages, that each language having appeared millions of years apart from the next, right? So you've got one civilization that existed millions of years later, another civilization comes to exist, and this goes on for millions of years, or tens of thousands of years, millennia, okay? Over those epochs of time, over those millennia, even though you have these different societies and civilizations on this continent, and then that continent, and another continent, and so on and so forth, right? They're all actually the same language. That was deciphered by an algorithm, by a super program, by a computer, by a supercomputer, dude. It was deciphered by a fucking supercomputer. Figure that out. You would think, on the average, as humans, oh, well, that's a different society, and they're disparate, they're disconnected, they're unconnected, they're not connected. There's no correlation in any way. They're thousands of miles across the globe, and they're apart from each other by some thousands of years. They couldn't possibly, they have their own artifacts, they have their own relics, they have their own cultures, they have their own customs and traditions and histories. Yeah, they do, but dude, they don't. That's one of the secrets of this world, is that, yeah, they're actually the same civilization, and they're actually the same language, and they're all spawned from a few data points. If you look up Wolfram, Wolfram, Wolfram. If you look at Wolfram's math science, what is it? A new kind of math, a new kind of science. I read this book. It's like, 1,200 pages? Hold on, let me look it up. Let's Google it. Wolfram, a new kind of science. Wolfram, a new kind of science. See, I'm on the podcast, so it goes kind of slow here sometimes, but sometimes it's fast. All right, yeah. Listening. Let's bring out another device here. But yeah, so this Wolfram book that is something to the effect of a new kind of science, a new kind of math. It explains how, when you look at these very complex patterns, right? And I'm Googling this too, by the way, while I'm talking here, multitasking. All right, I'm on this other. Wolfram, a new kind of science. Oh, fuck. Wolfram, a new kind of science. Let's see what the device brings up. Come on, device. Let's get with the program. Motherfucking bullshit. Wolfram, a new kind. God damn it. Wolfram, a new kind of science. I have no idea what the fuck is going on here with this shit, dude. Wolfram, a new kind of science. I think it's because I had some shit plugged in here. All right, here we go. A Science of Complexity, book by Stephen Wolfram. It is a new kind of science, okay? It's a best-selling controversial book by Stephen Wolfram, published by his own company in 2002. It contains an empirical and systematic study of computational systems such as cellular automata. Originally published May 2002, and this is from Wikipedia. Genre, nonfiction. Publisher, Wolfram Research. Page count, what did I say, 1,200 pages? So I was close. 1,197. I read that shit one summer, dude. I read it, the whole thing, front to back. The whole shit. God damn it. So, I don't know, man, if that shit was recording, or if it was paused, but I looked up Wolfram, a new kind of science. I did find that, and again, A New Kind of Science is a best-selling controversial book by Stephen Wolfram, published by his own company in 2002. It contains an empirical and systematic study of computational systems such as cellular automata. This is from Wikipedia, the citation. Originally published May 2002, page count 1,197, genre nonfiction, publisher Wolfram Research. Okay, so again, I was close in my estimation that it was 1,200 pages. And I know because I read the book one summer because my friend, childhood friend, we used to play poker together. We'd have poker nights, game nights with the fellas. And we had a little kind of parlor thing going on for a minute with the boys. And we fucking, he's a mathematician. He's a mathematician, PhD. Looks like Pierce Brosnan. He's been a math professor for over a decade now, PhD in mathematics at a university out here on the East Coast, and small drinking buddy, man, from the neighborhood. He's a true-to-life child prodigy, and I attended his graduation ceremony at the University of Washington, and he got his PhD, man. When he was, we were roommates, and we had a painting company together. I was actually introduced to him by one of the homies from 495, one of my homeboys from the neighborhood. Said, man, let me introduce you to such and such. And I was like, word? And we had a code. It was called dialing the operator. And it was when we used to smoke weed. And we called it folding towels. And dialing the operator was our boy would get us some drink and shit. We'd cause at the time, man, we didn't all have cars, and he had a ride and shit. So we dial the operator. He was an operator, and we'd get some drinks, and he'd stop by. We'd throw him some dough, and we're like, yo, man, you want to fold some towels? Which was smoke weed. And my boy is brilliant, man. He's brilliant, and he's a real prodigy. If you've ever seen the movie, Good Will Hunting with Matt Damon, Good Will Hunting, my dude is a real world Matt Damon character from Good Will Hunting. Real shit, dude. He's a real genius. He's a real prodigy, and he's one of the world's most brilliant mathematicians. And I give it to him, man. That's he's the smartest dude I've ever met in my lifetime, who is an actual prodigy, who's an actual brilliant mastermind mathematician genius. He happens to be from my neighborhood. This is real shit, no joke. He's from the Riverside, man, 151 Riverside neighborhood, bro. He's not just a professor of mathematics. He's one of the world's foremost probabilists. That's all I'm going to say to that effect. And so when we were kids, growing up, I'm saying like we're teenagers becoming young adults and shit of the drinking age. He would school us on math, man. Like he'd kick down math to us and shit. He'd be like, all right, y'all want to learn some math? We'd be like, hell yeah. So he'd be like, all right, Zeno's paradox, right? So our fraternity, man, our boys, our crew, 495, right? The Koch snowflake, the Koch snowflake, the Hausdorff Koch snowflake was actually created by him. I actually paid him to create mathematically with a mathematical algorithm to create the forever eternally repeating Koch snowflake, because the Hausdorff starts with one Koch snowflake and then it becomes another snowflake and it becomes another snowflake. So if you look at it on a pixel level, right? If you look at it with the forensic lens, it's not just one snowflake. It's repeating Koch snowflakes over and over again for infinity. And when I learned of that from his tutelage, under his tutelage, from his teachings, I asked him when the company was created, I asked him if he would do us the honor of actually creating it mathematically on paper, and we did. So he printed it out after he inputted the algorithm to create the Koch for 495, and we generated it. We printed it out on paper, so you would have like the large schematic, like the actual like poster of the Hausdorff, when magnified, looking at it over and over again, is for forever Koch snowflakes. Infinitesimal, infinity Koch snowflakes over and over again, if you follow me on that. So in terms of 495, 360, 180, if you look at 99 times 5 as a fraternity with who now is a PhD mathematician, we learned of these stochastic processes, Fourier analyses, and different types of Taylorian calculus and different types of maths, different types of mathematics, playing poker games, man. Because, that's how I first learned of John Nash and John von Neumann, game theory. He had the library, man, and we were drinking buddies, and so 495. That's how 495 was derived from the alphanumeric code, looking at supersymmetry and super mathematics, man. Supersymmetric mathematics, supersymmetry was from my boy, my dude, my guy from 495, who created with his help and his assistance the Koch snowflake. And that's one of the secrets of our organization, is that a PhD now in mathematics actually created the Koch snowflake icon, the 6-point star, man, Star of David, Hausdorff. That's correct, and that's where 495 actually comes from, and 151, and all these different codes that are mirrored with the ambigram, along with other dudes I know, along with other intellectual folks I know from our fraternity. So we didn't just come up with these things, man. We didn't just randomly come up with these things. So why am I telling you about this? Why am I speaking to you about this? Why am I talking about this? Well, here's why it's relevant. Wolfram, a new kind of science. My boy, who is a professor of math, he's the one who recommended that I enroll formally in a mathematics degree program. So I did as well. He's the one who told me that I ought to take the GRE, the graduate record exam, back when I did. And I did that at Gonzaga University. I'm sorry. I took the State Department, the Foreign Service Officer exam at Gonzaga. And I took the GRE at Central Washington University. And so at any rate, he was the one who introduced Wolfram to me. So at his behest, I read Wolfram one summer from front to back. When you look at the computational models in a new kind of science, what you learn, the premise essentially, what I got of it was that when you look at these complex data sets, right? When you're looking at these, when you look at what appears to be chaos, so we're talking about chaos theory, right? When you look at chaos theory as a subset of mathematics, right? Chaos math. When you look at these different systems that look to be chaotic on the surface, when you're looking at entropy, right? If you're familiar with entropy, so that's Echo, November, Tango, Romeo, Oscar, Papa, Hotel, Yankee. E-N. Oh, no. Intro? No. Sorry, driving. Not correct. Entropy. There's no H. There's no hotel. I was thinking entropy. No. And I know that that's not the correct spelling. E-N-T-R-O-P-Y. So Echo, November, Tango, Romeo, Oscar, Papa, Yankee. Did I get that right? E-N-T-R-O-P-Y. Driving, multitasking, doing a podcast all at the same time. Echo, November, Tango, Romeo, Oscar, Papa, Yankee is what I meant to say. Got to go back and listen to the podcast. So that is correct. E-N-T-R-O-P-Y. E-N-T-R-O-P-Y. Entropy. Yeah. So something like that. I don't know how many fucking times I just spelled that on the air here on this podcast. Driving, doing podcasts, multitasking, vehicle moving forward in time, space here, and spelling. So entropy, what you find when you're looking at like wormholes and different types of systems where there is apparently, so you think that there's disorder and you think that there's chaos and that there's just kind of these random patterns, or okay, rather, you think that there's randomness occurring, right? Because patterns suggest that there's order, and that's the crux of it, and that's the idea. If you want to think of like the universe as having some kind of like drain in a sink, like at home, right? Like in a, like you've got a faucet and you've got the basin and you've got the drain, right? The fucking drain. So when you're looking at the drain, like in the plumbing system model, blueprint, schematics of it all, water goes down the drain, right? So imagine somewhere in the cosmos, imagine somewhere in the universe, imagine somewhere in this universe and other universes that there's a fucking faucet somewhere, like a waterfall of time, and then there's like a drain, right? Like there's a drain where data, like a black hole, right? Think of a black hole as a drain, right? Shit goes down the drain. You take a shit and then you flush it and it goes through a tube, right? You got water and whatever fluids and things that are in your sink, and then they go down the drain. Well, think of a wormhole as a drain, right? That's the mouth of the wormhole, and then there's a tube, and then it goes somewhere. Well, where the fuck does it go, right? So think of that as a drain, because data and what you think is like, you know, like old food and like fluids and fuck chaos, right? like when you take a shit, right? It's just garbage and it's coming out of your butthole, right? You're taking a shit and all the poo is going in the fucking, in the wormhole mouth down somewhere. Where does it go? It's garbage, right? Sewage. Well, what's in a black hole? Fucking crazy shit, right? It's just like taking a shit down the shitter. Because it's fucking crazy. It's a black hole. It's insane, right? Right? That's what you've been led to believe and think, right? Well, what do you know about a Kerr black hole? Kerr. Okay? What do you know about physics? What do you know about chemistry? When you look at atoms, right? Are they electrical? Well, the whole universe is magnetic, right? Everything has magnetic properties. Even if you have glass, right? And you're like, this is a glass, this is a jar, this is a mason jar, and this is glass material. There's nothing that's magnetic about it. Wrong. It is fucking magnetic, okay? Everything has magnetic properties. Some are weaker than others, but they are there. Everything is magnetic. The air is magnetic. You are magnetic. The universe is magnetic. There is magnetism in everything. So, if you're looking at electromagnetism, if you're looking at magnetism and you're looking at atoms, right? What is neutral? What is neutral? What is neutrality? What does it mean? So, it's when you have equal parts in something. This is offset by this, or is it actually offset? Oh, there's the same number. So, this has a certain quantity. This has a certain quantity. They're both on this side. It's of the equation. It's this quantity. On the other side of the equation, it's the same quantity, right? 5 and 5 equals what? 1, right? Okay, 4 and 4 equals 1, right? You got 4 on this side, 4 on the other side is 1. You got 9 on this side, 9 on the other side. So that's what? It's 1, right? So those numbers cancel themselves out, essentially, right? They become 1 because they're the same thing. They are 1, right? So it's the same with, electricity. So you've got this neutral charge, right? It's neutral. It's not more this on one side than it's more this on the other side. So how many electrons do you have, right? That's what's important to know, is how many electrons do you have, all right? When you look at protons and you look at neutrons, right? So you're looking at protons, neutrons, electrons, right? If they all cancel themselves out, then there's supposedly neutrality. Okay, it's neutral. There's, right? So are black holes, are they electrically charged or are they neutral? So one of the things that a lot of people don't often consider is they think that with like black holes, that there's all this like chaos and shit that's going on. Like, oh, it's a black hole. It's totally insane. Like, it's all like, I don't know, electrical. It's like a storm and like you'll be ripped to pieces and all these kinds of things, right? Well, there are different types of black holes. There are different types of black holes, different categories, different classes of black holes. What do you know about electrically charged black holes? Are there black holes that are somehow, some way not electrical in nature? Is that even possible? What does that mean? How would that be viewed and observed and seen? Like, what the fuck would that, like, what? Like, how can it not be electrical? I thought everything was magnetic and that there, based on what I just said, you're like, Grove, I thought everything had some form of magnetism to it and that everything has to have some degree of magnetism to it. You just said that. Like, why would you contradict yourself? Well, so what do you know about dimensionless numbers? What do you know about massless particles? Like, okay, wait, hold on. How can something have no mass? Well, what do you know about tachyons, dude? They travel back in time. Oh, you're like, Grove, they're theoretical. Well, are they? Like the Higgs boson? Really? Are they really theoretical? I believe tachyons are for real, dude, and they actually exist. Well, of course they fucking do, right? Wikipedia currently says hypothetical fucking theoretical physics. Well, I'll tell you this, dude. I'm just going to share this with you. Tachyons are real, dude, and they absolutely do exist, and they do travel backward in time, and they travel faster than the speed of light. I'm just going to reveal that to you, dude, just so that you know that. And I did it in this podcast. You can talk to mathematicians on this planet, dude, and professors at your universities, and you can have conversations with them, and you can theorize whatever you want. I'm telling you, dude, that I already know. and I won't tell you how I've derived the information. You don't need to know that. But I'll tell you this, dude. Tachyons are absolutely real. And they're absolutely for real. And they're absolutely fucking for real. And they absolutely travel backward in time. And they actually travel faster than the speed of light. It's called FTL, faster than light travel. Dude, what do you know about superluminal particles, dude? Okay? Materials. So, you have a lot of weird shit in the universe. All these things that people think that they know, 95% of it is undecoded. So everything that humans know after, I don't know, billions of fucking years, trillions of years, people don't even know how old this planet is. They have no fucking idea how old the planet is. So let's say humans have been around for 10,000 years. Let's say that there is indication that humans existed some million years ago, okay? Tens of millions of years ago, there were humans somewhere, right? Well, you think maybe humans were also here, or some kind of humanoid-like entities were here like a billion years ago? Okay, is it so far-fetched, to think? Is it so unreasonable? You think it's outside reason? Do you think it's just so remote that it's probably not, conceivable or true based on what you were told in your Bible? It's like a few thousand years old, or 1,000, or whatever the Mandela effect's doing now to change time frames. Yeah. So I'm going to assume that humans were somewhere on some planet billions of years ago. Well, and all the things that humans believe that they know on this timeline, given that humans existed for, we'll just go with 1 million years. We'll go with your lower estimate. Yeah, even with what you know now, 95% of the universe is still undecoded. You've only decoded a fraction of the whole. So, in Wolfram, A New Kind of Science, what I got from it, is that when you look at chaos theory, and you look at these things that go on inside black holes, for example, when you look at entropy, like the drain of the universe, where particles go, where energy goes, right? Because these things are never created nor destroyed. They already exist. Energy is just transformed. So everything that was, that is, and that will be is already here. It's already here, man. And so therefore, since matter cannot be created nor destroyed, it just comes from this program that already exists, and these energy fields are just being transformed over and over again. So that's where we talk about universal entropy, where shit goes down the drain and then it gets transformed into something, and then it comes out in that calculus funnel, the funnel of the calculus, right? So when you're looking at differential calculus, what's on one side of the graph, and then you're looking at the integral calculus on the other side of the graph, depending on that mirror and how you view it, right? The parallax view of your observation as an observer. When you look at multivariate calculus, when you look at these different systems, right? When you look at limits in the calculus, when you look at the minima, the maxima, when you look at these types of models, right? When you look at these approximations, you find that when you go out into infinity, right? Differentiate. When you look, when something is differentiable at a point, when you magnify it over and over until you get to that pixel level, right? The Planck level, right? The scale, the Planck scale. When you get down to the pixel view of the universe, right? Where it's supposed to be no longer magnifiable, like you can't see anything beyond that point because it just becomes blurry, right? And that it's disorder, it's chaotic. You're like, whoa, it just doesn't even make any sense at this point. Like it's just weird and it's a blur. And you're looking at these fractals, right? When you're looking at that kind of information, when you're seeing that, right? When you're looking at Mandelbrot sets, and you're looking at these weird fucking blurry, like chaotic, like shit stains of the universe, right? When you're looking at entropy, right? Where does it go? Where does it go, man? Where does it goes? It goes through the tunnel, man. It goes through the wormhole. It goes through the fucking chaotic vortex. So we're talking about vortex mathematics. We're talking about vortex mathematics. We're talking about chaos math, super mathematics, super science right now, guys. Okay? When you're looking at those weird, fucking fucked up, distorted views of the universe, right? Well, they're not really distorted, and they're not really fucked up, and they're not really chaotic, because there's actually order in those systems of what appears to be chaos. Now, you see, my lecture, man, has been 50 minutes. I just explained chaos math to you. I just explained vortex math to you. I just explained and gave dissertation on Mandelbrot sets and pixelated views of the universe down to the Planck scale. I just conducted class in less than 60 fucking minutes. And I did that on a podcast. And I did it very easily, right? I drew you in, and if you listened throughout and entirely, then you just heard how I went from talking about Kanye West and conservative politics, man. I be doing good things for society, man. I be putting shit into perspective, and you see how I brought it all together? You thought I was just rambling on and I was just trailing. No, I use this as a tool to inculcate folks with certain information to help and to compel folks to go back to school, man, and to learn. I mean, even if you have certification, learn something new, man, because knowledge is an ongoing, lifelong, forever, perpetual process, man. And shit, you know, if you didn't know what chaos math was before, well, now you fucking know. If you listen to the podcast, man, now you know. So, New Kind of Science says when you look at these systems that appear highly complex, right? Like the human body, for example, or stars, planetary systems, celestial bodies in the heavens and space and time out in, you know, multiple dimensions, higher dimensions, lower dimensions, middle dimensions, these dimensions, extra dimensions. When you look at all this shit, right? All these wormholes and all these fucking black holes and all these interplanetary systems, how complex they are. Well, they actually start from a few pixels that, when arranged in a certain order, right, in a certain manner, in a certain fashion, when multiplied together, they become these seemingly complex things. You see, because we used to say in the science community that when you knock on wood, right, when you knock on tabletop, right, when you knock, right, okay, you're knocking on a solid object, material, right? But when you magnify it, when you look at it with an electron tunneling microscope, it's full of holes, man. It's filled with fucking goddamn holes, right? It's really mostly empty space, is what we used to say, right? Then science decoded that a lot of the universe, when you talk about dark energy and dark matter, right? Dark energy, dark matter, right? Plasma, different types of plasmas. When you look at these different types of systems, because they are systems, when you look at dark energy, when you look at dark matter, okay, we know that when you knock, right? When you touch, tactile, when you feel, right, something that appears to be solid, and you're like, yo, no, I get it, I learned in science, and I know because I'm a scientist, right? It's mostly empty space. Well, in that empty space, it isn't really so much empty as folks used to say in the world scientific community. It's what occupies that space, that seemingly empty space. Take a look at dark energy, dark matter, and look at these different plasmas, and you will find that the universe is filled. It's filled with fields of energy, even in seemingly empty vacuum space. Vacuum space, because you were told that space is cold, right? That's what you were told in science, right? That space is cold. Well, space is a vacuum. So is it really cold? Is it really the dark side of the moon, or is it just the far side of the moon? It's come to be called the dark side of the moon. So, again, where I'm going with this is that if you picked up on it, if you caught that in under 55 minutes here, I've explained that Wolfram, a new kind of science, when you look at these very complex systems, they all really started from just like 1, 2, 3 data points, and then they were arranged in a certain way that when multiplied together, they became human beings. They became sounds. They became energy fields. They became frequencies. They became what you see around you. Because it's all cryptography. It's all cryptology. You take a few of this and you multiply it with a few of this, and it becomes massive numbers of this. Those two things you started with are the crypto keys. They're the cryptographic keys. Okay? They're the mathematics that created the universe. And when you look at mathematics on different levels, you will see that there is symmetry. There's symmetry at some point. Supersymmetric mathematics. Things get mirrored over. There are parallels that exist between these different things where you would not normally assume or think or consider that there would be. You would not conjecture that there would be parallels. Then you come to find, oh, wait a second. In the supersymmetric mathematics of it all, dude, these are parallels. I realize this now. It just clicked. Like, these things are fucking correlated, man. Like, dude, the data link analysis. This here, boom. There's a correspondence. 1-to-1, perhaps 1-to-many. You're like, oh shit, dude, I see the other parallels. So it's a 1-to-many correspondence. Those are functions. Those are functions. So that's what I'm talking about, man. And yeah, this is under 60 minutes while people are watching videos on YouTube and they're fucking, texting their boyfriends and girlfriends, and they're doing all the different things that they're doing, or they're rapping about debauchery on the microphone, talking about fucking bitches and hoes and things like this. Yeah, one Sir Grove, he just taught class. And yeah, man, this is 495.